Hey, it's Jamie on My Irish Radio. Make My Irish Radio your Irish radio. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate it. You like, subscribe, do all those things. Comment, and the best thing you could possibly do is tell a friend about it. We appreciate that. Today, longtime friends, I feel like, because I've been listening to for so long, and then just started this project, the My Irish Radio, and adding the music to it, and fell in love all over again, pulling out a bunch of things that I hadn't listened to in a little bit, and then started doing some digging. And there's even more. I got to get it. So just amazing things in the Celtic tradition. Fiddles on fire, if you were. And I got introduced to Ashley MacIsaac when a local rock station added his stuff back. Oh, holy smokes! It was early '90s, and he Sleepy Maggie. And that opened the door, and then found all the traditional stuff. And I'm so happy that Ashley MacIsaac is here to chat a little bit today. Ashley, thanks for popping in.
Jamie, it's my pleasure. I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm just across the water from you on the Canadian side of the border in Windsor, Ontario.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's. I was talking to my friend Greg Gnip earlier today. I was like, "You never who guess who I'm going to talk to," and he was like, "Oh my god!" So yeah, he was on 89X in the river forever, and that's how that whole CanCon thing is kind of what opened the doors and turned me on to you with that Sleepy Maggie, which was like such a crazy crossover. And then I picked up your other albums and they were like straight up traditional. And so it's if I had to say if I try to describe you to somebody, I'm saying it's traditional and disruption. It's kind of because the
I,
tradition.
I'll, I've made a lot of records at this point, Jamie. I'm in my 50s now, and as you say, it would have been the early 90s that Sleepy Maggie came out as a single. It had a Gaelic lyric in it with the vocalist from Nova Scotia, originally from Quebec, but her name is Jane Lamond.
Yeah.
And myself and her worked on that track that got a lot of radio play and got his attention in states and around the world. Of course, Canada, where I'm from, probably the most attention.
Yeah.
But before that, and subsequently, I've made quite a few crossover records, but I never put out a crossover record without shortly thereafter or just before putting on a trad record as well. So I'm raised in traditional culture of Cape Breton Island,
Yeah.
Scottish mainly culture. And of course, we have Acadians, which are the French people that turned into the Cajuns. So my mother was French, have a little bit of that swing. And then, of course, Irish music from America and R&B have been influenced for a long time.
So yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. It's tell me about your childhood. So tell me a little bit about the growing up and the first time you had an instrument in your hand.
Well, the first time I would have been on stage was actually in 1978 in New Hampshire. I was 3 and I was singing a Gaelic song at a place called Six Gun City, which was a bit of an amusement park. And my grandfather, he spoke Gaelic and sang Gaelic and taught me as a little boy. And then after that, by the time I was 5, I was taking step dancing lessons. So I was a step dancer in a lot of concerts until I was about 9. And in between that, I've had a piano teacher who taught me to play a little bit, got my Royal Conservatory piano. And then my dad won a lottery, and that's how we were able to afford another instrument. So I got a violin and started with fiddle lessons when I was 9.
Those are not cheap instruments. You get yourself a nice fiddle, but that is a pricey
Well,
piece there.
it's funny because the instrument he bought at the time, we came from the lottery ticket winning place with, my dad had won $150,000, which is a lot for a single income earning family. And everybody got to get a present. My brother wanted an album collection. My sister wanted some balloons. I got a fiddle. I think it was about $125 package. And about a year later, when I was getting, I guess, pretty good to play for my teachers, beliefs, and a musician who was from Cape Breton Island, but lived a lot down in Walton, Watertown area in Boston. So we've had this group of Cape Bretoners that have lived in either the Windsor Detroits, the Toronto Mississauga, or the Watertown, Walton, Boston area, all to do with people going away in the 30s, 40s, and 50s to work, be they car jobs, be they whatever kind of jobs. And one of the Cape Breton fiddlers had gone down there, and he lived there for years, and he bought a pile of fiddles in a fire sale that a maker he had died, and his wife sold all the instruments, brought them to Cape Breton. My dad got me my first good instruments. That was $400, and I never paid more than that for anything now. I've never paid more than a couple of $100, and what I'm playing right now is like a $69 pawn fiddle. So they always taught me. They said It's the truck, not the truck, it's the driver, right?
Hey, there you go. There you go. Yeah, but sometimes with instruments, you might as well be playing hockey. It's so damn expensive. It's like, the most
You know,
expensive hobbies, you know?
there's something about that, and I've known people who have had very expensive instruments,
Yeah.
and I've seen very expensive instruments on the wall. I actually have a very rare violin right now, which again I only paid $300 for.
Oh,
But I think in America, it's something that is going to be sought after. I went into a pawn store one day, 2 Christmases ago, and I was trying to buy something for a friend of mine, and then the friend didn't want this fiddle, and I went back about a couple of weeks later, and sure enough, the store was closing. They wanted 6, I got it for 300. Turns out it's a violin that was made by a quite well-known musician who performed for Abraham Lincoln and was one of his soldiers during the Civil War. He made the violin in the mid 1830s. He went on after the war to start a music chain and stuff in the late 1800s. But I have this, 6 degrees of separation, only 1 degree of separation. Abraham Lincoln connected violin now. And so, it's, you never know the intrinsic value, the financial value of an instrument. That's a lot. But if you're a parent out there and you want to get your kid to play, just get them whatever.
yeah. I love that. I love that story, man. My house was built in 1831. And I'm always looking for, like, little things to have around that are that old or almost that old, you know?
I'll sell it to you for 1,000,000, which is only 600,000 American.
Fair play. Fair play. Yeah, no, I got a book of Byron poems from about that old. That's, like, the coolest thing I got. Anyway, but, so the music, I mean, you have not quit. You're just always grinding it out and doing it. The one of the latest projects, is it Fiddler, FDLER?
That
Is that
w that that's been out quite a while now. That was actually a project I started working on right after the 2010 Olympics. It's more of an EDM style records. There's some hip hop on it and sort of Skrillex sounding stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, that was the last crossover one I think I made. I made a Christmas TV show and recording since that, and a couple of trad records. The most up to date thing isn't available because I'm in the process now of doing it, called Country Pride. And so when I started out playing the fiddle, before that there was the piano and there was a guitar around the house, a strum. Now let's do a lot of country music. So since years I want to make a country record. But at the time, the labels back in the 90s said to me, I don't think we're ready for a gay country artist yet, Ashley. So I was like, okay, all right, we'll wait. And so I come up with this idea called Country Pride. And in the next couple of months, it should be finished. That'll be the newest thing. Of course, playing a fiddle, I'm a Celtic fiddler, but even the roots of country music and Cajun music, everything else comes back from our country culture.
So, I mean, most of your records, the fiddle based, how much singing do you do? I mean, you have other people, you collaborate with people, but how much of the singing do you do?
Depends. I've even on Higher Hallucinate, the album with Sleeping Maggie on it. I sang I think maybe 1 or 2 songs on that one.
Yeah.
I think there was two actually, one called "Kill Your Foes" and one called "What an Indian Is." I put out one album that was entirely singing without any fiddle on it. A record company asked me to do that years ago, called Pride, and that was a gay rock record. I didn't ask to make everything right, so um, singing is not my forte. But as an artist on stage, you get with the band, you're performing, and sometimes it just comes out. So I obviously, when I do tour, I don't take a full band out with me all the time. And sometimes it's been a DJ, sometimes just an acoustic guitar player. Whatever the case, if I want to do Sleepy Maggie, I'll throw some vocals in it myself. So that's probably one that I end up doing a bit of the Gaelic singing on. As Mary Jane has her own life and has been out on the road doing road thing for years. But overall, fiddling is the main thing. But fiddling and singing, yeah, they're something I grew up with.
So the music that you write, but the recordings, right? So, um, have you done pretty much all the traditional stuff you want to do, and you're writing new stuff in the traditional style?
There's a lot of traditional tunes to find out there, and I
Yeah.
occasionally find new ones. And no other reason. Like I wrote the President Trump's Reel back in 2000. 16. At the time, I thought somebody should write a tune for the president, and nobody else was going to do it, so I did. Um, I write sort of based on certain times and what's called for. If I'm in a studio, as I say, during COVID time, we call that Facebook time because there was nothing else to do except be on Facebook. I sat here, I'm actually in my bathroom because of the way long. And so I sat here and I would just write tunes. I remember I wrote one, the sort of sounds Irish. So I write simple melodies like that. But then I do all my own arranging. Uh, I write songs and that sort of thing when I'm trying to sort of commercialize the music as well.
I love it. I just I've been I've been DJ like weddings and parties and things. And back then in the there was this club. It's the Nova Scotia Club here in the Metro Detroit area,
Mhm.
and they would do these the square dance, step dance parties, and they would have violinists in, they'd have fiddle players in, and then I would DJ and play like the hustle song in between, and just the crap for the cruise ships moms to dance to in the breaks and the fiddle players. But I just nothing more than enjoy just watching the community come together. And
My first time down in this region of North America was back in 1989. In end of January, I came to play for a Nova Scotia club dance that was happening on the Canadian side in Windsor called the Cape Breton Club. It's the same crew of people that go cross border. But I made my way over to Detroit and met an Irish fiddler named Mick Gavin. And Mick has taken me over the years different times into Detroit and there at the Nova Scotia Club and performed shows with him at the Ark and such. So there is this cultural connection to this region. As I say, it goes back to the days of the early car jobs and that sort of thing, maritimers coming up here. So there's quite a few people now. They'd be grandchildren and great grandchildren of the original people that would have came here in the early part of the 20th century.
I was amazed at how the Nova Scotia area is like a time capsule like no other. That it was so, it was so cut off. It was so rural that influences really didn't get there to change. It stayed more Celtic than things happening in Scotland and Ireland because there were so many advancements going on there. It's interesting to see how it stayed very true to itself. And then once those influences started coming in, it was like it seemed as though it was very resistant and hung on to it. How often do you get back to that part of Canada?
Well, I own a convent, or I have a convent that I stay in down in Cape Breton. That one was built in 1891, and it was bought for me by my investors. And so I go down there when I want to hang out with the old ghost nuns, and in the summertime when I want to play some events and that sort of thing. But my mom still lives there, so I go in and out just to be there and see my mom. She's in her mid 70s now. Of course, I go down. Usually at Christmas time, I'll be down at the beginning of lobster season, and then sometimes for a festival called Celtic Colors, which happens in early October. And you suggest the idea of the isolation. We were actually at a point not connected to the mainland of North America until 1950s. We didn't have a bridge when they built the Canso Causeway. It's called the largest, longest deep water causeway in the world. It's so before that, that's why a lot of maritimers ended up in the New England states and such, and to this America, to Detroit. It was easier to get there by boat than it was to cross over and get to Halifax by horse and buggy, in the early 1900s. So we were isolated in that sense, but there was always a connection to the bigger cities. And people would get out and they would bring back their culture. And one of the greatest earliest recordings in Cape Breton, I've heard it once, it's from the very late 1890s. Somebody from New York had come up to Cape Breton to travel the Cabot Trail, which is the first location, in North America, other than the West Indies, that where John Cabot landed in 1497. And so somebody came up to do the Cabot Trail visit, and they brought a recording device with them from the big city. And you hear this old recording of a lady, and she goes, "Get that dumb machine away from me!" Right. And so we've been connected in our own way culturally. We're North Americans. We watch what happens in America and Canada, and that's just the way we are. And I think the historical reason for the cultural music and language of Gaelic and Scottish culture retaining pretty hard is probably more to do with the very early days, the early settlements after the clearance system, in the early 1800s. A lot of people were kicked out of Scotland uh, during what they call Highland clearances, and that was probably a kick in the teeth for people. So when that bunch got to Cape Breton, they they weren't allowed to do some of the things that they were doing in the Highland areas out Skye and Egg and Moydart. And so they brought those cultural things with them, pipes and the step dancing. And some of the things did get lost in Scotland over the era of the next 100 years, like step dancing. Step dancing was pretty much lost, and it would be only in the more really outer regions of Scotland there was some, and then of course in Ireland, and in the parks that were connected between the two, Donegal, different areas. So there's there's a reason why we maintained our culture, and some of it is just out of spite, and some of it would have been out of isolation as well.
I like the out of spite too. I can agree with that. So when you get to play back there, does it feel different when you're playing there? Is it a different experience for you?
Well, I toured now for over 30 years, pretty much internationally. And so a lot of my concerts are in, theaters, or I've toured with, like I say, DJs, and I'm out doing like big raves and rock shows with the rock band. And that type of setting is different. I will just sort of like bang, hit people for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever it is. The traditional way that I was raised playing was in this sort of square dance culture where you sit down, you have a piano player or a guitar player or maybe both, and you play usually a 3 or 4 hour gig, and you learn to get a stride. So it's a different type of rhythm, just how the show works. And of course, then play an awful lot of funerals. I probably played 100 funerals before I was 16. So you learn to play certain emotions and feelings that when I am playing in Cape Breton or in that area, I do my best to strike a chord that way. Um, but I've got well known, so people also come out that never would have came to see fiddle music in Cape Breton. Cape Bretoners who the boss had said, "I never listened to fiddle music like that," and
Yeah.
they'll come out and they sort of expected that that vibe, the trashing, fill craziness, and so I do a little bit of everything. And Cape Breton obviously is where I'm from. I can't avoid the traditional cultural upbringing of it.
Yeah, it's like you're a paradox in and of yourself. I just because yeah, you go so far both ways, and it's and you nail it on both ends of it. I'm a fan. So sorry, I'm
Well, I
fanboy.
appreciate it. Now, your show is broadcast to obviously Detroit, but all over the internet. And folks who want to see or hear my basic, you just have to take my name in on YouTube, or I suppose it's qualifying those things. I've maybe had 13 or 14 records out at this point.
Yeah, yeah. It's I got a good 7 or 8 of them. I gotta get. I just picked up the fiddler, the F. What is it? FDLR.
After but see, originally it was going to be called at DLR, and the day of the release, just the night before, I looked online, but I typed in that, and it come up like the freedom of the Democratic Republic of Congo or something, and it was like these Swaher images, and I was like, "Oh my God, we can't call it that. Don't change everything." And everybody would put on the shelf for a week, and we changed it to FDLER. Um, that's why it's called that. But again, that's a few years ago now,
Yeah.
and since that, so, the record industry is a completely different kettle of
Oh,
fish since 20 years. There's no money to make off it, other than if you have a billion streams. So I put out traditional records every 3, 4 years. There's been a couple since that has come out. I maybe print 1,000 of them, sell them at gigs, and then move on to the next one. So there is projects that you'll also be able to find some of it on the Judique Celtic Music Centre, which is Judique. The Celtic Music Centre in Cape Breton probably has most of my traditional ones there on sale.
All right. And, and on your website as well, it's just
Oh,
ashleymacisaac.com. And, I'll have all that stuff linked, for folks. You got that fiddle there. You had that pulled out. Can I trouble you for, another short tune?
how about I do something? Let's see. We just passed Robbie Burns Day for the Scottish people out there.
I
This
did.
week,
I I was, like, looking for something interesting to do, like, one of his poems, somebody reading his poem, and I
well,
found
I got one. I did it. I did it on my Facebook. I'll send you a link. You can post it. It's quite funny. Um, but I ended up on the Saturday night seeing an ad for a Robbie Burns event, and I called them quick, and they're like, "No, it's not tomorrow. It's tonight." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm running!" So I ended up going to it. I had my Donegal Irish knit sweater on, and
yeah.
I probably looked at a place at the Scottish folks that night. But I ended up having some haggis, and like I say, I gave we said you have a call. I'll send you a link. I'll play something very Scots.
I very nice. Oh, love it. I love the traditional stuff. I really do. It just puts me in a different place. I appreciate. Thank you so much for the music and the songs. It's some gorgeous stuff. We got to get you over to the Metro Detroit area to do a couple of sets.
I lost my passport about a year ago somewhere. I haven't done a new one yet. I got to get it, or maybe I'll get a Nexus. But anytime, I love playing all over Detroit. And I say I play in New York. I play different places. I remember playing at the Chieftains out at some big events there. Um, but again, you can always just look online and watch the music there available.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. So, yeah, that's great. So, yeah, we'll get you legal and we'll get you across the border, and
Yeah, let me
we'll have
play
some
one
fun.
more too. You're in
Oh,
Detroit. Just this, like I said, I wrote this one during the first Trump election called President Trump's Real, and I never got to play it.
oh,
So let's play it for everybody.
I love it.
They also throw Sleepy Maggie in on the end. How about that?
Fair play. No, spot on.
I would have played the President Trump's wheel 3 times, but some people don't like that notion.
Hey.
Choice might be enough.
Yeah, yeah. So politics and religion. Let's talk. Let's get it going. I don't care.
You know what? I'm probably one of the only gay, liberal-minded Canadians who's a big Trump fan. I got the flag on my there all the time. And so as Canadians, we love what America presents, the notion of democracy and your vote. You get we vote for. And right now, you know, a real strong leader in, and we're neighbors, and hopefully always the best of friends.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put all those links down on the bottom. And when the new piece comes out, when the new record comes out, the new let us know, and we'll talk about it some more.
Cheers. Thank you. Capolet and Jew.
Okay, we got the machine going. We're gonna play a few tunes. I have to get in.
You gotta take that ring off.
Gotta get my ring off here. Give us a couple of notes on the spoons there. Okay, here we go. Good Dan Huey tune. Kennedy Street March. Here we go. Ah, just like the Gabrielle.
They got them, yes.